the Town of Green Mountain Falls Board of Trustees meeting for today, Tuesday, July 27th, will come to order. All trustees are present, including Chris Quinn. The time,
I'm here.
I know, I heard you were here. The time is 7:06. At this time, if you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda as presented? Oh, thank you. Seeing none, I would move approval.
I'll second.
If there's no further discussion, all those in favor vote by saying aye.
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 And that motion passes. The next item is Fire Mitigation Committee appointment, Fred Thrash. Does anyone have any questions, comments about Mr. Thrash being on fire mitigation?
I just have a question. Is he replacing someone or is he a new member?
He'd be a new member. We were down before
Okay.
from a resignation.
Okay.
I believe Anne resigned.
So,
And so this would be
right.
replacing them.
So that is a replacement there. Okay.
And do we have a recommendation from the committee?
Yes, so town staff as well as the fire mitigation voting members recommend the appointment of Fred Thrash.
All right, board, any questions?
No.
Then I would move that we appoint Mr. Thrash to the Fire Mitigation Committee.
I'll second that.
If there's no further discussion, all those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
And that motion passes. Item 5 is the board vacancy appointment. Board, we heard last week from both of our candidates. At this time, we can have either discussion or nomination.
Well, I'm really happy that we have two great candidates. It doesn't really make the decision easy.
Well, I would venture this. I think we have two excellent candidates. I think they offer so much that I want to see happening in this town. But how about this for a proposition? I would very much like Mr. Dixon to stay with the Planning Commission and finish the land use code. I think that's where his passion sits right now. But with that being said, there will be vacancies on the board so quickly, you won't believe it.
Vacancies on what board?
On this board.
On
When-
this board.
When
Oh,
elections roll around,
okay.
that time will come up very quickly.
Right.
And I would
Right.
certainly encourage you to run for office or request nomination to be on the board.
Yeah, I'm perfectly okay with that.
And that way that gives you time frame?
Because I think,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I was very excited by all your ideas, but I also know that right now your passion is lying with finishing the land use code.
Right.
And with that is a long way around the mulberry bush to say, I would nominate Cindy King to take this particular opening.
Okay.
Those are
Well,
my,
I would like to second that. Super candidates.
Like I've been told before, we have you where we want you.
Sorry, Chris, we're having a hard time hearing you.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was just saying that I agree with Jane's comments. I think that both candidates are excellent. I was, thinking that Sunday would be a good addition at this time. Just, both are super qualified, everything like that. But I just think, her presence in the town for so long, and I just think it might be beneficial to have someone on the board that could help with our, kind of, bringing the town together kind of thing. And she seems like really sociable, and I just think it would bring good energy to the board.
So is that a second?
That is a second.
Excellent. So is there any further discussion? All those in favor vote by saying aye.
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 That motion passes. I want to personally thank you both so much for applying. I know so much thought and care went into your applications, and we got you where we want you, and there's no backing out. And the appointment will be at the August 3rd meeting, which is going to be a jam-packed, super exciting meeting.
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, as well as Sunday, you'll take your oath of office.
And then you get to vote on all the exciting things that we have on the agenda. Well, thank you. All right, the next item is for persons present, not on the agenda. Anyone would like to speak tonight? I would remind you that it is 3 minutes per speaker. We cannot engage in a conversation. Sometimes we have information, and sometimes we can direct staff. So first, no one in person, anyone online?
Anybody interested on Zoom and sharing public comment? I'll take resounding silence as a no.
All right.
So we don't have reports here, but if I may, Madam Mayor, I would just like to bring into record the, I don't know what we would call it, the situation that happened, the incident that happened over the weekend with Heath, our parking person. And I do want it to be publicly known what happened. I know Virgil is working on following up, but at the same time, as a member of this community, as a longtime member of this community, as a longtime volunteer, and as a Board of Trustees member, I want to vehemently condone the action that happened. Condemn. Sorry, I'm like, sorry. And for people that don't know, apparently at some point this weekend, I don't even know the full situation. Is Virgil on here to maybe do a report?
I believe so.
I'm here.
Could you give us the exact information that you're able to give regarding that incident? So that,
Well,
so
the
that
exact
people understand
information-
what happened?
The exact information, he said that he was servicing one of the kiosks, being the one at the intersection of Belvedere, U Pass, and Street, the far one kind of down by the pool, when he felt what he described as a bee sting in the back. And he said that's what he thought it was at first, but then he realized that somebody had thrown a rock or something or launched a projectile and had hit him in the back with it. He does not want to pursue anything. He doesn't want to file anything, but I'm not happy with it. So if I happen to get any good information, I'll go forward with it myself. He's not injured in any major way or anything else. He says he does not believe that it was a local person because he is in the process and says he has developed good relationships with most of the locals as well as the businesses in town. He described a 90s model white Dodge pickup as heading out of town toward the west entrance to Green Mountain Falls, but he was unable to get a license plate or anything else. He said he was going to go through his citation inventory and see if any vehicles might meet that description that he cited on that given day. But he did reiterate pretty strongly that he had never seen the vehicle before and does not believe it to be a local person.
Shameful action, shameful.
Thank you. Yeah, and I truly just want that to be in public record because that's not anything that we can ever tolerate. So,
Glad he wasn't injured.
yeah,
Glad he wasn't injured.
yeah.
And, you know, to reiterate what we've said before, just because a person is angry, it does not give them permission to hurt other people or destroy property. That's just beyond the pale.
And we're to the point that it's way past the hurtful words. And it just, we need to find a way to heal and move forward. So that's all I have to say on that. Thank you for indulging me.
Catherine, do you have anything?
Well, I did attend the ADA coordinator training last week. It was really great. It was, you know, the speaker did a great job of moving things along with, you know, information that could have been really sleepy, but it wasn't. In fact, I'm inspired to go on and get certified. Are you certified?
You look at me or her?
You.
Me? Oh, so I went through the training, but I don't know if I had full certification or not. When I was in Rush, they sent us to a day training for it.
Okay, yeah, so I guess that's what I got, was the day training.
We got a little, I mean, I guess if the little training certificate they went at the end was considered a cert, I don't think they called it.
No,
just
I
like a
think it's,
training acknowledgement.
I think it usually takes about 2 years to get the
Oh,
certification.
yeah, I definitely did not do
But they're having an online symposium. They're having in person right now down in Phoenix. And then next week they'll have an online version.
Oh, great.
So the opportunity to take a lot of the courses
Online.
I would definitely love to
Yeah.
learn more about it too. So
Yeah,
it's really fun. I mean, I know it's a bit sleepy, but I love that kind of stuff. I dork out on stuff.
I thought it was really interesting. I learned a lot, and I thought I knew a thing or two because I've had some training for my profession, but you know, this could work double duty too, because I could also use it towards my continuing ed for my profession. So.
I think that's great. And it helps the town, you know.
Yeah, I
It
can
really
see
helps.
how it could really help. You know, I have a friend who's an attorney with the Colorado Disability Coalition, and he's successfully sued the city of Denver many times. And sometimes it's like the Ellie Calkins Opera House. So they spend all this money renovating a building, and I guess they didn't have anybody who really knew law, because you know, a retrofit is so much more expensive. It's always better to do it the first time around, and you know, so it's good to know what the law is,
Right.
and I think it's really going to help us with, you know, the project to make the parks accessible for everyone,
For sure,
and
for sure.
you know, so we're not having to tear stuff up and redo, that we get it right the first time.
I think that's great. I think it will help with a lot of the grants and
I think, yeah,
have that knowledge base.
yeah. So I didn't realize that there are people that's what their job is for the city, is the ADA coordinator. That's, you know, and they might even have several people in that office. So, you know, it was a real eye opener.
But we're a real town.
We're a real town. We are. Well, let me get Chris's report, and then I'll tell you what I learned about being a real town. Chris, do you have a report?
No, I don't.
Okay. So, about being a real town, I don't know. Yeah. I attended a mayor's panel where we all spoke, and that's always interesting because it was a lot of the Front Range mayors, Palmer Lake and Monument, Pueblo, Colorado Springs, Manitou, Fountain. I think that covers about all of us. But what was really interesting, one thing that Mayor Gratisar out of Pueblo said, and I thought he's really echoing some of the words we've had. He said, we really need to pay our public employees as much as our budget can afford. They do incredibly important work, and they're rarely recognized for it. And I thought, especially in light of some of the battles we've had recently, it was just so nice to hear those same words echoed, that we need to remember to pay our public employees. You know, I think sometimes sitting from the smallest town up there, people tend to think that we don't hire the same people, and so we shouldn't have to pay in the same categories. But unfortunately, that's where all our employment comes from, and everybody needs to be recognized. Sometimes we acknowledge that smaller town can be more difficult because you don't have a staff of people to do everything. And it was pretty gratifying to hear all the mayors with similar feelings. We talked about a lot of things in general, but that was one that really stood out. Also talked a little bit about things that they're going to lobby, not us, but the lobbyists at the state level. And one of the things they said is, we really want the state to quit giving us unfunded mandates. And that has become a problem for us. And it will be a problem a lot going forward with our police, the whole marshal's department, because they're giving us a lot of mandates that are unfunded mandates. But it's nice to know everyone is in a similar boat. Another thing that happened to me this week, which I thought I really needed to share with the board and everyone, is I have been pulled aside almost every time I'm in public by people saying, thank you, thank you, thank you for the parking. My life is better. We are not having so many problems with errant dogs in our yard, or people screaming outside of my door at odd hours. And they just feel a lot of it has to do with a little bit more control. And that was gratifying to hear, because we don't always hear those things. And I think additionally to that, that's where we hear these small quiet voices who are not going to come forth in a public meeting because they are kind of intimidated. And I appreciate that we can also represent these people who will talk to us, who maybe won't be approaching things publicly. It was kind of nice, a nice remembering that that is also part of what we do here. Yeah. So with that, is there anything else?
Yes, there is. Oh, don't we want to sell
The grants.
The
The
grants.
grants. That's
Speaking
right.
of grants, just got word
Speaking of
today.
grants, this was hot off the press. Give the details.
Do you need it? I've got it printed.
You got it?
Yeah, it printed weird, but I've got it printed.
Okay. So because the efforts of the fire mitigation committee and CRUST combined, we received a grant that was written by Michelle Conley of CRUST. And it was GMF has a 40-acre SFA grant. The formal award letter will be here in August or September, and there's a 53-acre FRWRM, that's all fire mitigation speak, but I forget what all that stands for right now. Formal award letter in late August for that 53 acres. So we're pushing 100 acres of fire mitigation.
Nice.
Properly mitigated property there. So, and
In addition to what's being done up on Iona.
yeah, so
In addition, because that's like 5 acres.
I
or
think
something,
that-
right?
It could. I think the portions of that money may be wrapped into the Iona project as well.
Okay.
that's really big news.
That's a
Yeah.
huge news.
Yeah.
Kudos to fire
You
department.
want to do the video?
Yes.
Well, then, yep, that's good news. Thank you
That's
to
really
them.
great.
That's a lot of good stuff going forward. So,
And the fact that we have a staff, thank you guys, because you are on board for grant management, because even jumping through the hoops to get to this point, it's a lot of work.
and the
And
management.
the
is a
management
huge
and the
piece.
reporting and all of the requirements, it's like, even though we're waiting for our award letter, and once the award letter, we get the funds, but it's not a done deal until that final report is signed off on. And I appreciate the knowledge that you guys have to be able to move forward and administer that, because it does take a lot to administer.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Great, yay. Yourself. And with that, let's adjourn this meeting. It's 7:26. We're even ahead of the agenda.
oh wait, we have to go till 7:35.
No.
Oh, that was a good, quick meeting. That